So here's a question: for what value of x in the 0 to 2 pi does the graph of y equals cos x over 2 plus sine x have a horizontal tangent? So a few things we have to know here. The first thing is horizontal tangent. Means m equals 0, which is the slope equals 0. And of course, you know the derivative means the slope. Now, the other thing we also need to know, this is a quotient. So you have to know how to take the derivative of a quotient. So if y equals a over b, then y prime, the derivative would be a prime b minus b prime a all over b squared. So this is how we have to tackle this question right here. So let's start off with the derivative. And maybe let's just say here a equals cos x, and a prime would equal negative sine x, so the derivative of cos is negative sine, and b equals b 2 plus sine x, and the derivative of that will b prime would be just cos x, because the derivative of 2 is just 0. Now let's write this out in this format. So here y prime equals a prime, which is negative sine x, times 2 plus sine x, which is b, minus b prime, which is negative, cos x, so that would be minus cos x, times a, which is cos x as well. Now here what we're going to have, of course, over 2 plus sine x squared. So now at this stage here, we got to equate this to 0, because we said a horizontal tangent will have a slope of 0, and therefore you set up the derivative, which is the slope, to 0, and solve. And you know, when we set up this to 0, the bottom, when you cross multiply it to 0, just disappears, becomes 0. So what you're after the top here. So we're gonna just start distributing the top. So I'm gonna get negative 2 sine x minus sine squared x, and that's gonna be minus cos squared x. This works out to be negative 2 sine x. You know what? I'm going to factor out a negative from these two here, because I'm seeing that if I do that, I'm going to get 1. And that's the first Pythagorean identity in the trig section, which is sine squared plus cos squared is 1. So now I could rewrite this as 0 equals negative 2 sine x minus, and all of this is 1. So just that's 1. Now we have to solve this for sine x. So I'm going to move the negative 1 to the other side. So that's 1 equals negative 2 sine x. And then divide both sides by negative 2. And therefore sine x equals negative 1/2. Now if the sign is negative and we're trying to find the angle between 0 and 2 pi, or the two angles between 0 and 2 pi, what I do, I just do my quadrants. And of course, the sign is negative. It'll be in this quadrant right here, and this quadrant right here. Yeah. And any of you that forgot that, is all students take calculus. And so therefore the sign is positive in the first and the second quadrant. So if it's negative, then it's going to be in the third and the fourth quadrant. Also, what we need to remember here is our special angle triangle. So I'm just going to draw that right here. So here's the 30-60 degree triangle. 1, root 3, 2. So the angle that has a sine of 1/2 is the 30 degrees, because sine 30 is 1/2. And of course, 30 in radians, because we have to find the angle in radians since it's between 0 and 2 pi. The angle in radians, 30 is pi over 6. So what you do, you stick pi over 6 right here and right here. What that means, it means the reference angle here is pi over 6, and also here is pi over 6. But of course, you're after this angle here, that measuring from 0 all the way to here, since this is 0 and this is pi, and all the way around is 2 pi. Of course, this is pi over 2, and this is 3 pi over 2, but we never really use them when we doing these kind of questions. So you gotta find this angle right here, and then you gotta find the angle that's after that, that's a bit bigger. So the first angle here, if we want to call it x1, would be go all the way to pi. You know, from here you're going all the way to pi, and just add that little pi over 6 right there. And that is basically, if you do in common denominator, that's 6 pi over 6 plus pi over 6 equals 7 pi over 6. So that's the first answer right here. And the second answer would be x2 equals, for this one right here, the big one, you go all the way to 2 pi and take away the pi over 6. That will give you all of that right here. So it'd be 2 pi minus pi over 6, which equals, that's 12 over 6 pi minus 1 pi over 6, which gives you 11 pi over 6, and that is your second answer. I'll let you do the common denominator and all of that, like if you want to take your time with that, but you could confirm it doing it your way, and that's what you'll get for the answer. So in this graph right here, you'll have a tangent line that's horizontal at 7 pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6, and that is the final answer for this.